Would you please welcome from Jacksonville, Florida, Molly Hatchet? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Keith, on this episode of The Gatekeeper, we are talking about female singers. Why don't you tell us about her?
I've known this person for over 40 years. And this lady was a backup for the Johnny Van Zant band, who gave emphasis and pizzazz to what Johnny did when he had his own band, the Johnny Van Zant band. Her name is Joan Cusumano-Hecht.
Hi, Keith. Hey, hi, Ron. How are you doing? I was actually the first background singer ever hired by Johnny, and as far as I know, I've traveled with him the longest. And I just want to say I'm really grateful to Johnny and the band for giving me that opportunity. It was a lifetime experience, and I'm just really thankful for it.
Joan, what I want to do is I'd like to kind of like rewind just a little bit, okay? I want you to tell me how Joan Cusumano got in to singing.
Well, honestly, I can't remember a time, even as a child, that I did not want to be a professional singer. It was always a dream, and I began pursuit of that dream at a young age when I sang as part of a quartet for the renowned evangelist Lester Roloff. I toured the U.S. with him, and at age 14, I recorded on my first album with him. And beginning in 11th grade, I started fronting bands locally in clubs here in Jacksonville.
How did you first meet any of the members of Molly Hatchet, and who was it that you actually first met?
Well, back at the time, I was singing at night and working during the day at Southern Bell Telephone Company. The daughter of one of my co-workers was married to Dwayne Rowland. So when she found out that I was going on the road and touring with Hatchet, she told me that she would call Dwayne and tell him to look out for me. And her daughter drove me to meet Dwayne and the band before I even went on the road. And from that time forward, Dwayne really became like a big brother to me. He called me his little sis, and he would adopt a phrase by Telly Savalas from the TV show Kojak. And whenever I saw him or talked to him, he would say, "Who loves you, baby?" And he truly was a big brother to me.
And when you were out with Molly Hatchet and with Johnny Van Zant, there were some good times that we had out on the road. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit a few of them. Just talk about one of them that right off the bat is probably one of my favorites. Go ahead.
Maybe you're thinking of the one rare night that we had off, and we were staying in a very nice hotel. It had a 5-star restaurant on the top floor, and you and Steve Holland and Dave Lubeck invited me to dinner. So we head up to this restaurant, and we walk in the door, and we were greeted by a maitre d' in a tuxedo and white gloves, and he promptly informed us that the gentleman with me would not be able to dine in the restaurant because jeans were not allowed. So I grabbed you guys and took you to my hotel room and began going through my suitcase. And I picked out some neon red spandex pants for you. And then I picked out a wool skirt for Steve, which we had to take safety pins to lengthen the waist. And I also grabbed a black scarf for Steve. And back to the restaurant we went. Well, we walked in the door, and people had already noticed who you guys were. And they started whispering and laughing to each other. And one by one, they stood up and gave us a standing ovation. But I have to say, you were really rocking those red spandex pants, Keith.
Well, I tell you what, that is not the only time that I wore those, okay? Because I wore them several times, and after dinner, they wouldn't let us in the bar because they wouldn't let us in with jeans. So we kept I kept those spandex pants on. And Joan, I don't even know if you've even got those suckers back yet.
I never got my red spandex pants back. And you're right, you wore them repeatedly, so I'm glad you got good use for them.
I don't know where they are. They got lost in rock and roll heaven. So
For more information and to watch previous episodes of The Gatekeeper, please go to the original Molly Hatchet Group or Gator Country Band on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah.